Alright, this is an iPad 3 LCD connector repair. Um, it is this component right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay, it's right here. This is ZXW Tools. And let me enlarge this. So this is it. So it's already been repaired once before, and the guy tried to put on a new, had some problems with it basically, and broke the tab off again. So these things are a real pain in the butt here. One thing that happens often is let's see. Okay, so this is the audio front and rear mic connectors, and what happens often is when you try to take this off with heat, these two, the tabs on these things will burn up, and you'll end up replacing these as well. So that's what I did the first time because I've repaired this one before. So this time I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I put some 1-inch Kapton tape over both connectors, and I made sure I flipped the tabs up because when I have them down here they seem to burn a little easier. So I flipped them up this time, and so I put 1 inch here, and then I also put I think probably a 1/4 inch Kapton tape and taped it down here so the air doesn't get under there. And the other thing I'm going to do also is set my hot air gun. I normally have it at 425 degrees Celsius. I'm going to set it down to about closer to 400 now with a airflow rate of 5 or less. You know, that's all going to be different based on whatever hot air gun you're using. I'm using the Quick 861 DW hot air station here. Alright, so let's get started removing this thing first. Biggest thing is just don't burn these things up. Don't burn them up because they're a pain in the butt. It's going to cost you an extra hour of your time. So I'm going to go to 400 with a flow rate of 5, okay, and I am going to back off a little bit because I don't want to burn anything else. So, and my hot air gun is facing towards the open space here. Okay, I'm just going to face it this way. And this should come up a lot easier than if it were not replaced before, because what's on here now is tin lead solder and not lead-free solder. So this should come up a lot easier. So you can see the Kapton tape's already coming up already. And I've tried putting a heat sink under there too, and it didn't work, so I'm just going to blow it this way. Thing about these hot air guns is you can actually regulate the heat. So I have it set 400 now, but the further away the tip is from whatever you're desoldering, the less heat actually gets to it. So if you wanted to get hotter, then you just put it a little closer, you know. See, you can see it burning up. I mean, the plastic's melting there. So, which is not a big deal because this connector is going to be thrown away anyways. Alright, so that's a million times easier to remove. Okay. Not going to be as easy if you're doing this without having it replaced before. Alright, so you can kind of look at the connectors, not burnt. That's importante. Alright, so let's clean that. Let's just dry it up a little bit. I think that was old solder flux. I think what I'm going to do is got some Amtech here. I think I'm going to use solder wick and get all the old solder off just so that it holds tight. And the other big problem that I've been having also is when I solder the connector on, it's a pain in the butt to get these two the ends soldered on for some reason. So I'm gonna try this and see how it goes. So with solder wick, okay, you really don't want to press down on it and hold it down. You really just want to go as light as possible and just kind of like, don't push down with the solder iron. Kind of just get the edge of it, just kind of drag it. Otherwise, you're gonna rip pads, and if you rip pads, you're gonna be in trouble. Like that. You really didn't want to do that because now it's stuck. Okay. So you really just want to kind of just go like that a little bit. I mean, these, I think you probably just want to leave it on there anyway. Just kind of like graze the surface of it. You don't want to push down. Push down, that's when it gets stuck. And for some reason, to ground it, pads. Let me turn my fume extractor on. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let's see. Alright, cut that away. Never understood why, but the solder seems to be harder to remove on the pads that are going to ground. Like, you can tell which pads are going to ground. The ground, 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 ground. Yeah, there you go. So maybe with the grounded tabs, you just kind of push a little harder. Maybe, I don't know. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. All right. It's actually going well here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I think I might try something a little different today. I've been using my hot tweezers to... I may do that again, I don't know. Let's clean this up real quick first, and then we'll decide in a little bit. Alright, so that's pretty clean. So I've been using my Hakko hot tweezers, micro tweezers, to solder the connector on. Okay, you know, it makes it a lot easier on this side, on the sides. But I still have a problem with the ends here. For some reason, the solder I just start burning stuff up, and it just doesn't bond well for some reason. So I was thinking maybe just using hot air and seeing how that was hot air and maybe some paste or something like that. See how that works. But that doesn't seem. I don't think that's gonna work. Let's do this. I'm gonna use the tweezers for the long side and paste for the outsides. Let's see if that works. I'm gonna pause it for a second while I get my connector out. Alright, so so here's my connector. Just make sure you have it going the right way. And so here's what I'm going to show you. So this right here connects to this and this, okay? And that's really the biggest problem. Is I've tried tinning them, and they just don't flow well for some reason, and I don't know why. So let's try this. I'm going to use some paste this time, and we'll see how that goes. Alright. So I got some Kester 256, 6337 tin to lead solder paste. You can get it from Amazon. It's not cheap, but one tube will last you a long, long time. Alright, so we got some paste here. And then I'm just going to go like this. And okay. Alright, let's flip this over. And just got to make sure that it's aligned. Make sure you leave enough room on both sides. Sometimes you push it a little too far, it's impossible. It's really hard to. So there's not a whole lot of room for error here. I'm actually going to turn this around this way. So let's turn on my tweezers. Okay. I didn't tin it this time. Alright, let's just, okay, so just make sure it's aligned. Make sure make sure you have room to solder, basically. The leads onto the long side, so that's right there. I think maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to use some hot air, I think. We'll see how that goes. Worst case is I'll just burn up the connector and I'll put a new one on. Not a big deal. So I'm going to do this. I should probably solder some of the ends on first. Alright, let's just do this. Okay, so let's do this. You don't want to get too close, otherwise the connector is going to burn. See, it's already burning. So it's not going to work. So it's got to be the iron. Alright, I got my hot tweezers here. Tin it a little bit. And then let's hold it tight. Okay, like that. You know what? This is not gonna work. I need to anchor it first. Some people anchor it with ends, but I'm actually gonna anchor it like that. So let's get a little flux, and then I'll do a few pins, and then we'll try to get the ends that way. It's a real pain in the butt. Alright, it's kind of held in place now. 2 leads. It looks like it's a little bit off, so I'm going to try to. See, it's not even easy to do it now. You know what? I think that'll work. I think that'll be fine. So let's just. I'm going to do a few more, and might as well just do them all, right? And then try to get the ends after. So, more flux. And let's get a little closer. they all look good. So, anyways, I'm gonna. Pause. Okay. So the back side is looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna see if I can get the ends before I get the other side. And this is where my problems are right here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect my FM2027, plug in my FM2032, which is the microsoldering pencil, and let's get some paste again. A lot of paste. Let's see if we can just kind of. Let's see what we can do. I mean, this is all ground anyway, so it's not a big deal. That's a little too much paste. Let me get this in there. Alright, let's see what this does. Don't really want to burn it. Alright, that's not going to work. So let's get some. Let's see. Let's try this. I got some 0.15 inch Kessler solder. So let's try to do that. So I don't want to burn the plastic. That's kind of what I'm afraid of. Another thing is, you can see there's plastic on my thing here. For some reason, it's just not holding the pad. There. I can't even tell, but I can just, you can probably just lift this right here. And you kind of see it, you know. See, it's not even connecting. This is gunk right here. Let me pause this for a second. I got a text. Alright, here's what I'm going to try now. I got these little tweezers here that when you push down on them, they clamps down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it down. Hopefully, let me see what's on the other side of the logic board first. Alright, that's just nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it down here. And hopefully that'll kind of press it against the pad. Let's do that. One sec. Let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, like that. Hopefully this will hold it down to the pad, and then maybe it'll solder a little easier. I don't know. So I put a ton of flux on there. See, I don't even think it's taking really. Yeah, I don't think it's going. And this is not really helping. So these are just a pain in the butt. Is it even necessary? Right? You know what? Let's just continue on with it first, and then we'll go from there. I'm just gonna get the this side. All right. So, all right. Well, we are kind of in business. I mean, all these look pretty good here. I mean, I'll double check them later, but they all look like they're pretty good. So, I mean, is it really needed to solder the ends? Nice. So let me try this side. Let's see if this one works a little bit better. It looked like it actually worked. Let's check it. Nope. For some reason it just won't flow to the pad. I don't think, honestly, I don't even think it's necessary, really, because it's already grounded. Nope. I mean, is it necessary? Probably not. I mean, it lifts. Let's see. If I can just get one, that'd be fine, because these are both the same metal thing right here. So if I can just get it grounded once, I think it'll be fine. But I really don't think a pin is connected to that anyways. So I don't really think it matters, because this whole thing just pops out. So really, I think these metal things at the end right here are mounting brackets. I think that's all they are. Because let's take a look. If you look at ZXW tools here, you will see that ground, so this right here, okay, so these are all grounded, so you can tell they're grounding pins within the connector already, you know, and these, so the connector is grounded. These just hold the connector into place, I believe. So since I've had so many problems with these, and it's pretty tight, I really don't think there's going to be a problem with it. Okay, so let's do this. They cause more issues than problems. So let's do this. Let's test all the pins first. So what I normally do is I just stick my tweezer and just poke it, just make sure it's solid. Solid, 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 solid. Solid, 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 solid. These are all solid. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is, well, get this side too. So push, push. These are pretty solid. Okay, next thing I like to do is take my multimeter, put it in continuity mode, and just kind of go one by one. Just make sure there's no bridges. Two pins in the middle, are they? Yep. Let's see. Okay, there's two pins in the middle that are side by side, and these are it. So these are the two pins right here. Oh, sorry, these two pins. Oh. Nope. Okay, those are only two pins. And then you can also check for your grounded tab. So let's see, like this one. Let's take a look. So this is ground, I believe. So this one should be ground. Okay. And then 6, 2, 6. Okay, those are all good. So now I'll go to this side, do the same thing. So these two should not be beeping. So there's a bridge. So that needs to be fixed. Okay, let's go back here. These are somehow bridged. I'm not quite sure how, but they are bridged. And they should not be. Actually, what am I doing? Let's do this. Oh, they are touching. Okay, so we're good. Pretty sure those didn't beep. So let's do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These should beep. They do beep. Okay, so we're good. So let's dry this up and test it. Alright, more IPA, and then I'm going to blow dry it with my air spray thing. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's pause it, test it. I'll be back.